Mississippi is blessed to have over 70 different rivers flowing throughout the state, eventually leading to the Gulf of Mexico. Today, we're going to float several of those major tributaries, starting with the Big Sunflower River. The Sunflower River is home to an abundance of wetlands, fish, and wildlife. It begins in Coahoma County and flows nearly 250 miles until reaching the Yazoo River. Come with us and experience some of its beauty and splendor.
A lot of my work is on the Mississippi River and tributaries. The Big Sunflower, while you're floating down or working on the Big Sunflower, it's very pretty because for the most part you do have some riparian vegetation. If you look on the other side of the bank, of course, it's acres and acres of ag fields. But the Big Sunflower does retain some of its natural characteristics. We still have to deal with the sedimentation of these streams, maybe even go in there and remove it with a drag line or a dredge. We also need to deal with the environmental flows because during the summer and the fall, during the typical low water season, most of these rivers, including the Big Sunflower, cease flowing. And that's because they have lost their connection with the groundwater. And believe me, that is being addressed by multiple agencies right now. And we feel that eventually we'll be able to provide environmental flows for the Big Sunflower and other tributaries through various different means. And that's another major goal that we have here is to try to restore the flow regime during the low flow period. Well, I mean, certainly the invasive carp, the silver carp, the big head carp, the grass carp, and now the black carp, are a major environmental issue. I don't see us being able to really control the populations at this point. We have to learn to live with them. And really the number one thing I wish that Americans would do would have an appetite for them. And then we could have commercial fishermen go in there and harvest, tons of these fish. And then they would end up on someone's plate, or they would end up as other kind of food products. So that's an important part, and we need more attention paid to the exploitation of these fish for commercial purposes.
Our next adventure takes us down one of the oldest river tributaries in Mississippi, the Yockanookanee River, which was channeled in 1914. As the river flows through the Yockanookanee Wildlife Management Area near Kosciuszko, it offers some beautiful scenery with large overhanging trees.
Well, the Yockanookanee was very unique in the fact that there's nobody around. It's quiet. There are no houses, and the very few bridges you encounter don't have lots of traffic over them. It's almost as though you're stepping way back in time, to an earlier era without a lot of large population around. So it's kind of interesting, the fact that you can be that close to civilization and not see anybody. In the summertime, it can be nothing much more than a trickle. And then once some rain falls, it definitely rises very fast and changes dynamics when it rises. And it changes its course. It'll actually go one way when the water's down and another way when the water's up. As far as what you think is the main river may not necessarily have water in it year-round. But the scenery along it is beautiful. I mean, big cypress trees, which is in some of the brackish areas where water kind of stays after the flood waters go down, some of those little small lakes. Not any real large lakes, but there are some small lakes along it, and those, like I said, have cypress trees in them, and it's beautiful scenery. It's just, I think if you go back in time, the river is probably unchanged from, let's just say 50 to 100 years ago. Along that river, it's not developed, not a lot of houses anywhere close to the river because of the flooding, I think, but it just, it's like stepping back in time. It hasn't changed. Unlike a lot of areas that have lots of, I guess, say recreational use, the river does seem to change as, the amount of traffic on it, but I dare say there's very, very little traffic along some sections of it just because it's real remote. But it's beautiful scenery.
Pelahatchie Bay is located in the Ross Barnett Reservoir and fed by the beautiful Pelahatchie Creek, a world-class spot for canoeing and kayaking among cypress trees and backwater swamps. With easy access from several locations, paddlers can enjoy the serenity of the water as well as a wilderness experience.
It really is amazing how people don't realize how many waterways we have in Mississippi. Pelahatchie Creek is in my backyard. The bay is a great place to explore. We have a pretty large paddling group here in town. Actually, it's all of Central Mississippi, called the Central Mississippi Paddling Mafia. We plan trips all the time. We're going out a lot of times sunrise, sunset, some beautiful sunsets out here. The bay is a perfect area to view sunsets and sunrises just because there's very little distraction, very little light pollution. We get out here all the time, and on the creeks that we can go back on, you can go for miles and miles and not see another person. And on these trips, it doesn't matter what time of the year you go out, it always changes a little bit. You might go through the same 5-mile paddle every single month, and it'll change every single day you're there. And that's what we really love about it. I think we're very fortunate to live in a state with as many waterways as we have and that are friendly and accessible, and I'd love it to get more people out there and enjoy them.
Our final journey takes us down the Leaf River into the beautiful Pascagoula River, which eventually leads to the Mississippi Sound. Also known as the Singing River, the Pascagoula is the largest undammed river in the upper 48 states and is home to over 300 different species of birds with fantastic fishing opportunities too.
People like this river because it's beautiful, it's wild, and there's actually no roads to it unless you own private property. You got to get to it by boat. What I've heard is it's the last undammed tributary in the lower 48. And people want to keep it that way. So I know I do. I grew up hunting and fishing in this swamp. I almost yanked him up out of the water, he's so big. Well, it's a largemouth bass. They actually have spotted bass here too. But on this river, they got to be 12 inches to keep them. So we're gonna let this one go. We'll be nice to him too. Right down this straightaway here, we're fixing to enter into the Pascagoula River where Black Creek meets the Pascagoula. And then we'll go south from there to a launch, Wade Van Cleve Road.
The scenery here is fantastic. You don't see, especially when you get into the sections that are less used, the ones that are more remote, then you don't see all the litter and all of that stuff. You get to see a lot more wildlife because people haven't come through and scared it away. It's Mississippi National Wild Scenic River, so I'd assume that anybody who comes down this river is going to have a really good time and see things that are just, the trees and the wildlife. It's beautiful. Sandbars, everything, you'd ever need and want from a great trip. It's just beautiful here.
This is a real pretty part of the river. A lot of Actually, there's a lot of cypress and gum trees grow right next to each other, and sometimes I can't tell the difference. But they're all over. You got a lot of wild trees, and I mean mature trees too. A lot of acorns drop here. This is a good part of the year. A lot of people hunting up here. You see these houseboats. Basically, they hunting camps and fishing camps is what they are. This is Berry Lake. This drain actually can come off of Black Creek when the river gets high enough, and also that dead lake that we were in feeds off to this also. So pretty good fishing, and you can see that guy up there trying to brim fish. So a lot of fishing here. 2 boat launches on it. It's kind of, you know, typical of what the Pascagoula River looks like. There's a lot of what some people call oxbows down here. I think the term is mostly Dead River because on maps it says Steed Dead River, things like that. So instead of calling them oxbows down here, a lot of people call them Dead Rivers. It's beautiful. You can see all the cypress knees all the way around it. And like I said, some of them are probably gum trees too.
I'm real proud that we have a river that hasn't been dammed. I think that's a big deal and want to keep it that way.
Hey, that's all the time we have for this week. Hope you enjoyed the show.
Join us again next time for more exciting adventures. Until then, I'm Pamela Weaver.
And I'm Kevin Meacham. See you outdoors.
Riding through the bayou, headed for the sky blue, back out on the trail again and again. Hiking and hunting and fishing the land, time is time well spent. We'll take it to the Delta, to the great wide shores. There's so much to see and do, Mississippi outdoors, the great outdoors, Mississippi outdoors, the great outdoors. Mississippi outdoors.